Happy Independence Day, Ray.
Well, a happy 4th to you as well, Jeff. Is there a reason we're celebrating in Sharon, Massachusetts today?
There is. Sharon, Massachusetts is where this particular story ends.
Okay, well, where do we begin?
You know how Independence Day always brings out stories of famous generals and war heroes who have schools and towns named after them?
Absolutely.
Well, I thought today would take a different approach and tell the legend of the everyman.
Okay.
A guy who never rose above the rank of infantryman. He was never awarded any medals, but still, he's a guy who made all the difference in the Revolutionary War.
Wow, who was he?
He was an infantryman named Robert. Hi, I'm Jeff Belanger, and welcome to episode 98 of the New England Legends podcast. It's our Independence Day special.
And I'm Ray Auger. If you give us about 10 minutes, we'll give you something strange to talk about today. We're on a mission to chronicle every legend in New England, 1 week and one story at a time.
And we couldn't do that without the help of our Patreon patrons who are supporting this week's episode. If you head over to patreon.com/New England Legends, for as little as $3 per month, you'll get early access to new episodes plus bonus episodes that nobody else gets to hear. Our production and hosting costs have gone up quite a bit since we began almost 2 years ago, and these folks are keeping us growing. So thank you.
All right, Jeff, so we're telling the story of an infantryman named Robert.
Right.
He never won any medals?
Nope.
And no promotions to lieutenant or captain, anything like that?
Nope. But a brave and true soldier just the same. Should we head back and meet him?
Yeah, I'm ready. July 4th, 1776, America declares its independence from British rule, but that's not going to happen easily or overnight. There's a long road and war ahead before America is on its own.
Right.
It's going to take the sacrifice of countless soldiers to truly be free. Soldiers like Robert.
So Robert was born December 17th, 1760 in Plimpton, Massachusetts. You see, Robert's father abandoned his family, which meant his wife and children were forced to fend for themselves. Robert spent some time with various relatives and then winds up an indentured servant between the years 1770 to 1778. Now, once Robert turned 18, he was free to start his own life. For the next few years, Robert worked as a school teacher at times, but also worked as a weaver during winter months. But more than anything, Robert wants to join the Continental Army and fight the British for American independence.
At 5 feet 9 inches, Robert is on the tall side for men of the time. But he doesn't exactly possess a hulking frame. Still, he knows if given the chance, he can hold a gun and fight. It's early in 1782, and Robert decides to take the plunge and sign up for the Army.
So Robert heads down to Middleborough, Massachusetts, and reports for duty. But something strange happens during the sign-up. Robert doesn't use his real name.
Timothy Thayer of Carver reporting for duty.
Strange he wouldn't use his real name or town.
Well, more on that soon. Now, the Army accepts Timothy Thayer, even pays him a signing bonus, but before the date he's supposed to report for duty, someone in town notifies the Army that this person is not who he says he is. Dejected, Robert pays back the portion of the bonus that he hadn't spent yet, and the Army doesn't pursue it any further because they've got other problems, namely trying to defeat the British.
Robert doesn't give up his high hopes of joining the Army, though. It's now May of 1782, and Robert is committed to enlisting and fighting for freedom. This time, Robert heads over to Uxbridge, Massachusetts, and signs up for the 4th Massachusetts Regiment.
Name, Robert Shortliff.
This time, the enlistment goes smoothly, and Robert, along with 50 other men, head over to nearby Bellingham, Massachusetts, where they wait for orders to march to Worcester to meet up with the rest of the regiment.
Light infantry companies are an elite force.
Yeah.
They're taller and stronger than most, almost like a special forces unit used to flank coverage or move ahead for reconnaissance duties. Given his size, that fits Robert perfectly.
Once the regiment is assembled in Worcester, they march to West Point, New York, under the command of Captain George Webb.
Robert takes part in several notable operations. He helps dig trenches. He assists in rounding up Tories or British loyalists. And then his first real battle day arrives, July 3rd, 1782.
So picture this. The 4th Massachusetts is positioned right outside of Tarrytown, New York. And that's when the bullets and cannon fly. During the battle, Robert takes 2 musket balls in his thigh. A British soldier slashes him across the forehead with a saber. Bleeding and badly wounded, Robert tells his comrades to leave him to die, but they refuse. They put him on his horse and ride 6 miles to a hospital.
Robert allows the doctors to treat his head wounds, but he refuses to tell them about the musket balls in his leg.
Oh, my God.
He's not going to trouble the doctors anymore when there's other soldiers to tend to. So Robert finds a quiet place off by himself and digs one musket ball out of his leg with a knife.
Oh, my God.
But the other ball is too deep inside. It'll remain there for the rest of Robert's life.
For the next few months, Robert's assigned to lighter duty during his recovery. He serves as a personal orderly to General John Patterson, but then it's the summer of 1783, and this time, something hits Robert that he never sees coming.
What happens?
It's a fever.
Ooh.
A bit of an epidemic is going around, and Robert finds himself burning up from fever. He's lightheaded. He's dizzy. And then Robert loses consciousness. Now, when he awakes in a hospital bed several days later, wearing different clothes, Robert now fully understands that the jig is up. The doctors know who he really is.
Wait, he's not really Robert Shirtliff?
No, he's not Robert Shirtliff. He is not even a he.
What?
The soldier they've known as Robert for more than a year is actually a woman named Deborah Sampson, who's been living as a man because she knew the army would never let her fight as a woman.
Ah, that explains the false name of Timothy Thayer back in Middleborough.
Right, exactly.
I'm guessing someone figured out she was a woman on that first attempt to join the army.
Yep, that's exactly what happened.
So what's the army going to do now?
Well, they give Deborah Sampson an honorable discharge. She comes home to Massachusetts and back to her mother's house in Plimpton.
Once her mother hears what she's done, she does not approve. She sends Deborah to Stoughton to live with her aunt, Alice Waters. It's in Stoughton that she meets a man named Benjamin Gannett, a farmer from Sharon, Massachusetts. The two fall in love, get married, and move to Sharon to start a family.
It would seem that Deborah Sampson is content to be a wife and a mother on a small farm, but still, money is really tight. She's borrowing cash to make ends meet. It's a struggle. Plus, let's face it, she's got quite a story.
Yeah.
The kind of story more people need to hear. And that's when a writer and editor named Herman Mann approaches Deborah and suggests they collaborate to tell her tale. The book will bring in some much-needed money for Deborah, and readers will hear about the heroism of a woman during the Revolutionary War. In 1797, the book is published under the title The Female Review, Life of Deborah Sampson, the female soldier in the War of the Revolution.
So now some much-needed money is coming in, but it's still not enough.
Yeah, books don't pay.
No, so you would know. Still, her story and legend is growing. In 1802, Deborah Sampson decides to take to the stage to tell her story in front of a live audience. She calls the performance The American Heroine. It premieres in Boston.
During the performance, she recounts her experiences in the war. Her audience is riveted.
I became an actor in that important drama with an inflexible resolution to persevere through the last scene, when we might be permitted and acknowledged to enjoy what we had so nobly declared we would possess or lose with our lives: freedom and independence.
Deborah spends part of her time on stage dressed as a woman recounting her story, but then she steps off stage and returns a few minutes later dressed in her military uniform and carrying a rifle. She shows the audience how to clean, load, and fire the musket.
The entire oration is really patriotic. I mean, it's clear Deborah Sampson cares deeply about her country and her freedom.
I'm happy for America, happy for Europe, perhaps for the world, when on the delivery of Cornwallis's sword to the illustrious, the immortal Washington, or rather by his order to the brave Lincoln, the sun of liberty and independence burst through a sable cloud, and his benign influence was almost instantaneously felt in our remotest corners.
There's this famous folk song I've heard for years now. I first heard it performed by the Grateful Dead, but countless others have done their own rendition. It's called Jack-a-Row.
Oh yeah, I know that song.
Yeah.
It's about a woman who dresses like a man in order to go to battle and find her fiancé.
Right, yeah.
I guess Deborah Sampson isn't the first to pull off dressing like a man to go to battle.
No, she's not. But unlike the heroine in Jack-a-Row, Deborah Sampson didn't join the army because she was chasing some guy. She didn't do it to win any hearts. She did it because she just wanted to fight. She wanted to travel and see new things. So she willingly broke the rules. I think Deborah sums it up best from the stage.
I am indeed willing to acknowledge what I have done, an error and presumption. I will call it an error and presumption because I swerved from the accustomed flowery path of female delicacy to walk upon the heroic precipice of feminine perdition.
Between her book and her lecture tour, Deborah Sampson captures the attention of the government. On March 11, 1805, Congress places her on the Massachusetts Invalid Pension Roll, which pays her only $4 per month. She was also awarded 2 years of back pay for a total of $48.
Got it.
This amount is more than a year of money they earned from the farm.
Okay.
Sampson continues to petition Congress for a soldier's pension dating back to her discharge in 1783. Her request was denied in 1809, but eventually approved in 1816. She was awarded $6.40 per month, which is enough for her to pay back her loans and take care of her family.
Deborah Sampson dies April 29, 1827, in Sharon, Massachusetts, after contracting yellow fever. She was 66 years old.
I love that Deborah Sampson joined the Army because she wanted to fight, not for love of anyone or anything other than her country.
Yeah, and her story and legend never quite go away. During the women's suffrage movement in the 19-teens, Deborah Sampson's story makes the rounds once again. The movement is quick to point to her as one of their heroes, a woman who could fight as good as a man during the Revolution.
In 1982, the Massachusetts legislature declared Deborah Sampson the official state heroine and declared May 23rd Deborah Sampson Day.
And here in downtown Sharon, Massachusetts, there's now a statue of Sampson right in front of the town library.
I love this statue.
Yeah, it's great.
She's wearing a dress, holding her musket by her side, and over her right shoulder is her military uniform.
Yeah.
The two sides of Deborah Sampson.
Deborah Sampson has risen to legend status because we need her story to stick around. We need a reminder that when a person puts their mind to something, nothing can stop them. And when you consider patriots like Deborah Sampson were fighting, it's really no wonder we won the war for independence.
Happy Independence Day to all of our legendary listeners
Yeah.
out there, wherever you are. We appreciate every one of you spending some time with us each week. If you'd like to see pictures of Deborah Sampson and her statue, head over to our website at ournewenglandlegends.com and click on episode 98.
And you can also reach us anytime through our legend line at 617-444-9683. Call or text us with your feedback. Maybe share your favorite local legends. We sometimes share those in future podcasts.
We'd like to thank Lorna Nagara for masterfully portraying Robert Shurtleff and Deborah Sampson. Thank you to Michael Legge for also helping out. Our theme music is by John Judd.
Until next time, remember, the bizarre is closer than you think.